So, I used to work at McDonald's. Don't believe me? Well, let me jump into something a little more believable. Ta-da! Little jazz hands. Oh, but you know what? I am forgetting something. Just give me a moment. Much better, perfectly believable uniform. It's also a really great thumbnail. But wait, what's that? You still don't believe me? You don't believe that I was a McDonald's crew member? Well, I mean, you're right! Because I was a McDonald's manager. Yep, that's right. I was a McDonald's manager. Wait, you're still having trouble believing that I actually worked at McDonald's? Well, yep, I was an actual McDonald's manager and I have the uniforms to prove it. But you still don't believe me, you say? Well, that's fine. You don't have to believe me. That's not the point of this video. Okay, but actually, if you don't believe me, we're gonna have a problem here because I want to be believed because I don't want people to be thinking that I'm a liar. So this is what we will be DIYing today. These 3 McDonald's manager dress shirts. I thought about trying to DIY this more recognizable McDonald's uniform shirt, but this thing is complete and utter trash. I'm thinking that my biggest challenge with this thrift flipped or DIY or whatever you want to call it is going to be the fact that these shirts are already in my size. That means that I'm not going to have a lot of extra fabric to size down. And on top of that, they're a ladies cut, which means there's even less fabric. I've seen people on Pinterest take dress shirts and then size them down to little girls' dresses, or they'll take like an extra large men's shirt and then size it down to a cute women's blouse. Pretty easy and straightforward. But in this case, I don't really have the opportunity. Thrift flip number 1. First up, we have this little number right here. It's a blue dress shirt with red buttons. And I really don't have time to explain to you what's happening in this photo, so I won't. When I was a little girl, my sister loved Molly, an American Girl. I, however, did not. I thought that the fashions were really ugly and I didn't really like what they wore during World War II. But let me tell ya, McDonald's is the reason why I love women's wartime fashions and high-waisted pants and such. Because in theory, the blue top is going to be the simplest top, I decided to start on that first. I'm going with a simple design that really just requires me to cut off both of the sleeves. Now, I know that most of you probably aren't going to try and make this, but in case you are, this is what you should have at this point. And to all of you who don't think I actually worked at McDonald's, here is my name tag. Now, I know what you're thinking. You just took someone's name tag and wrote your own name over it with permanent marker. But if you look closely, you can see my name underneath it, and here's the replacement name I was supposed to put over it. Now, back to the topic at hand. Get it? Topic? Like this is a top or a blouse. I put the top on and I put a skirt over it and I tucked it in. It looks like it fits, but the armpits are pretty gappy and it's a bit too long. We'll need to fix this because I feel like I'm in a muscle man shirt. I pinned the sides to mark where I wanted to bring in the top, and then I also marked these 2 darts on the bust, but I didn't end up needing those in the end. Now to the thread stash. I found a very dark blue, almost black color that matches the top pretty well. And now we need a bobbin. So while I was filming for this YouTube video, I was also trying to film for this TikTok video, except that I am terrible at TikToks and it took all of my energy and concentration, and I completely forgot to film any footage for the YouTube video. So while you watch this TikTok, let me tell you the one thing you probably want to know the most. The ice cream machine at my store wasn't always broken, but it did go into this thing called heat mode, where it would heat up and basically boil all of the ice cream mixture on the inside. This is so that any bacteria could be killed. This heat mode was pre-programmed and we couldn't override it. It was supposed to happen in the middle of the night, but our machine was really old, oftentimes going into heat mode during rushes and peak times. If you tried to dispense ice cream while it was in heat mode, it would just pour out hot liquid. Instead of trying to explain that to our customers, it was just easier to say, it's broken. Almost all of the other employees would always call dibs on the Happy Meal signage and display case, which is totally fine because I would say over 50% of my coworkers had children. But somehow I actually got the Frozen 2 sign or poster that you see here that was supposed to go around the Happy Meal case. This is the only bit of promotional signage that I have from my time with McDonald's. I am absolutely thrilled that I got this one though, because I am going to show you something amazing. Look at that straight up detail. Like, I knew that Elsa and Anna had freckles, but you can see like these 3 little freckles up by her eye, and it's just amazing because you can see all the embroidery work. You can see the stitching on the collar. You can see the type of fabric that's used. You can see that there were sequins used, pearls, little bit of snowy magic. The seams of the underarm seam, like you can see it all. I just think that is incredibly amazing. So I'm so happy that out of all of them, this is the one I did get. Anywho, enough of that. I absolutely love how this turned out. I still can't pose and I didn't want to take it off, so you get to see a lot of it. In order to give it a little bit more of that McDonald's look, I went ahead and I paired it with this McDonald's pin. Thrift flip number 2. Because I have 2 of the white and blue pinstriped shirt, I'm hoping to make a 2-piece or maybe even a dress. Also, if you were thinking to yourself, man, the lighting in her house is weird. No, the lighting isn't actually that weird. Those yellow blotches that you're seeing on these white and blue pinstripe tops, those would be grease stains. Grease stains? You've got to be kidding me. Where would those come from? I remember coming home with stuff covering me every night. So yeah, grease stains. Just like with the blue shirt, I went ahead and I buttoned it up before I started cutting it. And then I thought, why not make a stop motion of me buttoning up the second shirt instead of just doing a fast motion like I did with the other 2 shirts. And I don't know, this is my first time doing a stop motion like this. Does it look okay? So I have decided on a pinafore dress. I think I said that right. I don't know, I've never had one before and I've never made one, but they seem pretty straightforward. All right, so here we go. Everything is all chopped up and the grease stains are so terrible. Also, I just realized I've been referring to this as a blue and white pinstripe and I always thought it was blue, but I think it might actually be gray and white. So I don't mean to be a liar, but my whole life, well, not my whole life, but the whole time this shirt has been in my life, I thought that they were blue and white. So I picked the 2 sleeves that have the least amount of grease stains, which is still a decent amount of grease stains, but like less than the others, so hopefully it won't be too noticeable. We'll see what happens. So I'm thinking this would be the fabric that will go in the front. Oh, that's actually quite a lot of fabric. Be the top of the pinafore. And then the shirt parts with the pockets will be the skirt. That way I can utilize the pockets. And it'll still have the little M on the skirt of the dress. I'll have like that hidden McDonald's secret kind of, I don't know where I'm going with this. Also, it's been like 4 days since I filmed the first half of this video. And I thought that in order to make this video look a little more continuous, I would just wear the same outfit again. My hairstyle's changed. I didn't really take that into account and it's too late now. And also I like the pigtails and I'm not taking them out. Yeah, today's my day off and it is now another day and this is where I left off like 3 days ago when I had my last day off because apparently I cannot be productive on working days. So I have my 4 skirt panels, 2 pinafore front panels. That way I can double line them and make them a little thicker. Then I didn't have enough length in fabric when it came to the sleeves to actually make the straps and the waistband. So I had to cut them out like this. I'll sew them along the angle and I'll put them together like a bias tape. So this is going to be the waistband and these will be the straps. And then I do have all of these extra buttons that are from the cuffs of the dress shirts. So I'm going to take those and I'm going to use them for the buttons of the waistband closure and to attach the straps to the skirt. I went ahead and I sewed my bias tape waistbands and straps together and now I'm going to be sewing all 4 of the skirt panels together. Just right sides together, not in any particular fancy way. I have all 4 of the skirt panels sewn together. I have all of my bias, I don't know how I'm supposed to do that, bias tape straps and waistbands sewn up, and then I sewed my 2 pinafore bodice pieces, I guess that's what I'm going to call it, together, and I turned them inside out just like a simple pillow. There's a rainbow on my face. Now I don't really think I'm going to film much of this next part because I'm just making it up as I go anyway, but basically I'm going to gather that, sew the waistband to it, and then I'm going to sew the pinafore front to that, and then I'm going to attach the straps and the buttons, and then it'll be done. I'm about to gather up the skirt, and look, there's another rainbow. I don't know if you can see it very well. Red, orange, green, blue, and purple. So pretty. I don't know, I really like it this way. It makes me think of a cute vintage apron. I feel like this would be just like a really cute skirt on its own. And I don't really want to turn it into the pinafore, but I guess if I don't like it, I could always take it apart. But you have the two little pockets here, each with a little M. This is a real button down in the front, so you could unbutton it, but you can't unbutton it here in the waistband, because what I'm going to use is this to actually be the button with the waistband. So I'll just put a button up here. We're gonna turn it into a pinafore because I said we were gonna turn it into one. So yeah. Here we have the pinafore dress. There's the skirt I put in the waistband, and because of how the dress shirt's bottom was, it has this nice cute little scalloped edge. It kind of reminds me of flower petals. I don't know. I have the bodice, because that's what I'm calling it now. I have the bodice of the pinafore on there, and all I have to do now are add the straps, and it will be done. Oh, and some buttons for the straps. And then it will be done. And it is done. It turned out cute enough, grease stains and all. But there are things that I wish I could have done differently and double lined, but I just couldn't do because of the lack of fabric. Pockets! Overall, the skirt ended up being pretty full, and I'm glad I was able to make it the length I did. I went ahead and I added these buttons to the front of the pinafore. And then I tried it out with this pin that I always used to wear on the collar of my uniform when I was at work. So there it is. I turned my old McDonald's manager uniforms into a dress and a shirt. Thanks for watching.